and more class 2 and class 3 manufacturing or vertical?
Yeah, honestly, I think a lot of different reasons, I guess. But I think it really what it gave them was gave them the full bag. Really everything, every aspect of the hospital. Before they had, Medtronic had the brains, and the spine, and the heart, and then Medtronic, we always used to say, or Covidien had the guts, everything that did all the soft tissue stuff. So it's really just a great combination to really bridge and have, everything from soup to nuts. And then I think there was also a lot of synergies in some areas. Some areas of selling as well. Some of the selling areas we had were overlap as well. So I think they saw some synergies there where maybe they had some products that didn't have a sales force per se that was targeted quite right for it, whereas we had a sales force and didn't have some of the products. And then, let's face it, my old group, U.S. Surgical, the stapling side of things, we were, cash cow, and they still are today. So what's wrong with that? Grab onto that stapling business, just throwing off dollar bills, perennially. And then they also had, in the same stapling group, they had a robotic program, which, I know is still underway. That's all public. Brian Hansen's been talking about it. And obviously, I think the folks at Medtronic saw that, and they saw Intuitive Surgical and other robotic players starting to get going, and they wanted to, grab a hold of something that was already in process rather than start from zero.
And so, thinking about the piece of Covidien that's doing syringes, sharps containers, some of those, and it's not commodity, but like more of the single-use type applications. A lot of that is polypropylene.
Yep. I think we sold a lot of it. I correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe not. Wouldn't a lot of this have gone off in the acquisition that Cardinal bought of our surgical supplies group?
That's right.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking about it from our perspective, bringing properties to plastics, what would be your advice in bringing enhancements to those types of applications? Is it getting to Minneapolis and doing high-level R&D sessions on what's possible, bringing actual ideas of where we could replace other engineered plastics with polyolefins? Just give me your thoughts on how you would attack.
Yeah, it's probably a multi-pronged approach. Again, if you can get the materials commodities managers, if you can get their ear on some opportunities, real world examples, some opportunities, and then maybe parlay off of that, or in parallel or separately go after some of the development centers and just make them more knowledgeable about the advancements in these materials. We have several, like I said, we've got a lot of plastics engineers locally at each of these facilities, but then there's a mothership somewhere for just about every discipline within Medtronic. So obviously, if you can go at the target source locally, if you know that they're the syringe guys, that's a home run. If you have a warm intro into any of those, that's definitely a way to go. But if you can't, you can also go in through that specialized group somewhere in Medtronic, that technology hub, and push it down that way. So if you kind of get those two sides of it, those two or three ends of it, the materials guy is going to be interested because it's a potential savings that he wants to drive down. The engineering guy is going to be interested in it because it's a potential savings and it works and it's simple. So that's the way I typically see it happen. And then honestly, sometimes you just get shit lucky because your injection molder happens to be in there and he's a competitor. He's trying to get the syringe business. He's trying to change it from, the tooling is, whatever, it's 16 cavity tool, and they got to build another one, and you're thinking of trying somebody else, and somebody comes to them and, pitches them a better idea with your material because it's going to save them X amount of money. That's a good point, because I imagine you guys are going to have to change tooling with the